And that's just the start. And then the next day after January 20th, January 21st is this Million Woman March. That's the march Michael Moore was talking about, where it was reported in the New York Times. They're hoping to get 1 million women to Washington, D.C. to protest for abortion rights, for essentially killing their own children. But they're hoping to get 1 million women there. And Michael Moore says, hey, that could be the start of 100 days of resistance. That's what Michael Moore is calling it. What they want to do is they want to make Donald Trump's first 100 days as hard as possible. And Barack Obama, what Barack Obama is doing right now is playing right into that. Because, you know what, when a new president is elected, the sitting president, the lame duck president, what traditionally they've kind of stepped back. They've said, okay, I'm not going to introduce a bunch of new initiatives. I'm going to just try to make it an easy transition for the next guy, kind of stepping back and saying, okay, the new guy's coming in. I'm not going to rock the boat. But instead, Barack Obama has done just the opposite. He's been malicious. He's been going crazy, passing all types of new rules and regulations, establishing national monuments, giving this medal to Joe Biden. And it just wasn't the Presidential Medal of Freedom. It was the Presidential Medal of Freedom with distinction, which has only been done 3 times in history. Once for Pope John Paul, once for Ronald Reagan. So, I mean, it was just such a farce, so ridiculous. But basically, Barack Obama's trying to squeeze every ounce of presidential power as possible out of his remaining time in the White House, including provoking Russia with this moving of troops into Poland. I mean, this is the first time it's ever happened. It didn't get a lot of attention here in the U.S. media, but this is a really big deal. Not, you know, it's just a few thousand troops. But what this does is it's highly symbolic, because it's really poking the bear, poking Russia, because it's very much aggravating Russia. Because you have to remember, Poland was a member of the Warsaw Pact, and so to Russia, and it's, you know, right close to Russia. So Russia is very, very annoyed by this. And we're also, in late January, NATO troops are going to be stationed from now on in Lithuania. So NATO troops are going into Lithuania, which is actually part of the Soviet Union back in the old days. So, David, this is a very, very big deal.
Yeah, we've had an escalation, as we've seen with the so-called Russian reset. We've had the reset of the Cold War, and it's not. This is permanently putting there. Of course, they've had multiple exercises, as you know, Michael. They've had multiple NATO exercises that come right up to the Russian border, and they say, oh, they're just practice and so forth and so on. And people said that to Vladimir Putin, and he just started laughing. Like, yeah, right. You're not trying to send us a message at all, are you? They would take it very seriously if the Russians were to put missiles in Cuba, for example. We know exactly what happened with that. Or if they were to go to Venezuela, or if things were to get frostier with the U.S. and Mexico, and somehow Russia or China or, let's say, North Korea were to forward place missiles right in Mexico. I mean, that's the way the Russians see this, and rightfully so. It is deliberately provocative. They're trying to be provocative in the same way that we have Bill Ayers and these communist organizers are trying to be provocative at the inauguration. And they're trying to provoke an event, just like all these people are. That's precisely what they're trying to do. It's a very dangerous thing. And one of the things that really disturbs me, Michael, is the fact that anyone who says we don't want to escalate tensions, we want to de-escalate tensions. It used to be a virtue when Richard Nixon said we're going to have a policy of détente. We're going to ease this strained relationship between the U.S. and Russia. Everybody said, that's great. We're kind of tired of a Cold War. We don't want to live on the edge of nuclear war. These people, for the purpose of the military-industrial complex now, want to restart this. And if you say that you don't want this, you don't want war, then these radicals on the left start accusing you, and mainstream media like Washington Post, New York Times start accusing